We're now streaming live on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, so we're streaming live.
Okay.
Did you already click record?
All right, so we are live on YouTube and you are now being recorded.
Thank you.
Right, that's gonna be charged for
Wait.
Monday.
Not muted yet.
Over.
Okay, Mr.
So we're
Chairman.
ready. I'm going to call the meeting of the planning board to order. And I have an announcement to make. Due to the increasing concerns surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting / public hearing will be held remotely with no physical meeting location. Those seeking to provide public input should do so using the methods listed below. Video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV 9 at a later date. A live recording of the meeting will be available on the Town of Dayton YouTube channel, which can be accessed using this link, www.youtube.com/Town of Dayton. Public input phone line during the meeting is 508-669-6431, extension 114. Leave a voicemail if necessary. Excuse me. Public input before or during the meeting, you can be reached K Easterday at Dayton/mass.gov, ma.gov. Let me read that again. K Easterday at Dayton/ma.gov. Use the email subject line, public meeting hearing, May 20, 2020, public input, and include your name and address for the record. Gentlemen, I'd like everyone to please recite the Pledge of Allegiance along with me, if you would, please, ladies and gentlemen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We're going to move on to item agenda number 3, and that's to confirm the next meeting date of June 3, 2020 at the Old Town Hall, 1111 Somerset Avenue, Dayton, Mass. I just want to put this out there. This is tentative and this is to be determined. So right now we're just going to leave the meeting date as June 3rd, 2020 at the Old Town Hall at 11 Somerset Avenue unless otherwise notified. Do I entertain a motion?
So moved.
Motion been made by Mr. Pyre. The second has been made by Mr. Woods. Any further discussion on the next meeting date? Hearing none, let's vote individually. Mr. Vice Chairman Pyres.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Okay, heard you. I'm okay with it.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines? Aye. Mr. Boner is excused for the meeting this evening. Mr. Boner has been excused. Thank you. So the meeting date's been confirmed of June 3rd of 2020 at the Old Town Hall, unless otherwise notified. I'm going to move on to item number 4, business. Is to review, discuss, and act on the special permit extension request for Brook Street Solar special permit / site plan 0 Brook Street, map 16, lot 28. Now, I believe everyone received their packets with the information. Now, the information came in from Atlantic Design. I believe you're on with us this evening.
Correct. This is Christopher King with Atlantic Design Engineers.
You said that was Christopher King?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Now, I've read through the letter myself, and before we act, I want everyone to look at the information that was provided by our office manager, and that was an email that was sent out by the Mr. and Mrs. Beausoleil. Now, the Atlantic Design right now is looking for a 2-year extension on the site permit with the site plan review. Now, this is due to, I don't want to read the whole letter, but I'll read the first paragraph. It says, as you know, the planning board voted to approve a special permit with a site plan review for a proposed solar project at 0 Brook Street, map 16, lot 28, on December 19th of 2018. As outlined in section 5370 of the zoning bylaw, the special permit / site plan review expires in 24 months from the date of the original special permit / site plan approval. TJA Solar respectively requests that the special permit / site plan review be extended due to good cause pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 40A, Section 9, for a period of 24 months from the original date to approval of December 19, 2020. Construction will not begin by the specified expiration date of December 19, 2020 due to good cause reasons. The project site has been included in an affected system operator study being conducted by the utility company Nation Grid and is required prior to the start of construction. The ASO study effectively puts a moratorium on construction until it's completed by the utility company. The required ASO study typically takes 9 to 12 months to complete and has been suspended indefinitely until the COVID-19 emergency orders are removed. Due to these unforeseeable circumstances, and considering the current state of uncertainty, the applicant respectfully requests that the planning board approve a 24-month extension to the special permit to allow adequate time for the emergency order to be removed and the ASO study to continue to completion as required prior to the start of construction. So, with that being said, I'd like to read into record the email from Mr. and Mrs. Beausoleil, if I may. And this was dated May 20, 2020. 8:07 a.m. and it says, Alan and Lauren Beausoleil of 1680 Pine Street, Dayton, Mass. This is in regards to the request by the Atlantic Design Engineers Incorporated, TJA Solar in parentheses, to extend the special permit for Zero Brook Street Solar Project. As abutters to this project, we respectfully request that the planning board does not approve this 2-year extension based on the fact that Atlantic Design still has over 6 months on their current permit. We believe a 2-year extension is excessive and not needed at this time. Regarding the National Grid Affected System Operator ASO study, it was not stated in the Atlantic Design engineering request at what point National Grid is in their study. According to Atlantic Design Engineering, the process could take 9 to 12 months. However, it was not stated at what point National Grid is at in this process. They, in parentheses, National Grid may be nearing completion of its study and would not warrant a 2-year extension. We would like to thank the planning board in advance for their consideration in this matter. Now, with that being said, due to the COVID, of course, we all know what is happening is that a lot of construction has been stopped, and of course, the National Grid, they're not working on the ASO because they're on hold because that part of the division cannot get together to process that information. Am I right, Mr. King, in that regard?
Yes, that's my understanding. I'm not involved directly in communication with the utility. That would be TJA, and that's why they had contacted me for the extension request and had requested specifically the 2 years, just as you had as explained, that they're suspended and they can't get together, and we're just not sure what state it's in or when it's going to be completed.
Okay.
Mr.
Do
Chairman,
we have a yes.
Tom Pires here. Do you know how far along they, if at all, they are into the inspection or the request there?
Mr. King, if you could answer that.
I do not.
Okay. I'm good, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, Mr. Woods, are you squared away with this?
I'm here.
Mr. Figueredo, are you squared away with the information that's been provided by Atlantic Design?
Yes, I am. I'm okay with it.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion to extend the request for extension of a special permit site plan review for 24 months until the date of December, excuse me, let me go back and see. Yes, I'm sorry, December 19, 2022.
Mr. Chairman, Tom Pires here. I'll make that motion.
I'll second it.
Motion made by Mr. Pires, seconded by Mr. Figurito. Any further discussion on the topic? Hearing none, let's vote individually. Mr. Pires.
Aye, yes.
Mr. Figurito.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
nay,
Mr. Woods is nay. Mr. Rhines, aye. Let the record state that the vote is 3-1. 3 in favor, 1 nay. All right, Mr. King, thank you very much for tuning in with us this evening. We appreciate your coming on board with us. And we
Thank you
look
for
forward
entertaining
to, yes, and we look forward to seeing you in the future, of course.
Absolutely. I appreciate the board's time, and everyone stay healthy.
Thank you very much, Mr. King. You also and your family. Thank you very much. Have a
Thank
great evening.
You as well. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. So we're going to move on to item number B. I'm sorry, letter B and number 4 in the business. And it's the review, discuss, and act on the waiver request for soil testing at 1712 William Street, map 16, lot 23. Now, we received a letter from LSC Environmental Consulting, and Mr. Roderick is looking for a waiver to not do all the test holes at that location. Now, I'm going to read this waiver into record. I'll be as fast as I can. This is from LSC Environmental Consulting. It's dated March 30th of 2020, addressed to me at the Planning Board's 979 Somerset Avenue. And this is in regards to wetland services soil testing. And this is at 1712 William Street, map 16, lot 23, Dayton, Mass. Dear Chairman Ryan, as requested by the owner, Anton Roderick, I conducted a site reconnaissance on a property located at Assessors Map 16, Lot 23 in Dayton, Mass, the site, on September 11th and September 25th of 2019. The purpose of the site evaluations was to identify wetland resource areas protected under the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, and is implementing regulations, in parentheses, 310 CMR Code of Mass Regulations 10.0. as well as the Town of Dayton Wetland Bylaw. This letter was written in conjunction with the Open Space Development Plan prepared by Zenith Consulting Engineering Incorporated for Tony Roderick, titled Conceptual Layout, 1712 William Street, Dayton, Mass, dated January 15, 2020. The scale is 1 inch, equals 50 feet. The plan will be submitted to the Conservation Commission for approval under a separate notice of intent. Now, second paragraph, the site description is the approximate 15-acre site is located east of William Street, is in a mostly residential part of Dayton. The site is comprised of upland field and woodland and one bordering vegetated wetland in the eastern portion of the site. This bordering vegetated wetland was delineated with pink vinyl flagging. Flags numbered WF-A1 to WS-A49 and WF-B1 to WF-B15 were hung to delineate the edge of mostly wooded wetland. There is
God
one
bless you.
upland island to the east of the portion of the bordered vegetated wetlands. This bordering vegetated wetland is contiguous to a larger swamp that continues off-site to the north and east. Water-stained leaves, as well as some standing surface water in places, were observed within the bordering vegetated wetlands at the time of delineation. Proposed project, the site contains approximately 15 acres with 10 acres of upland and 5 acres of wetland. The conservation subdivision at design will use approximately 3 acres of the 15 acres. The applicant is proposing an advanced common septic for 9 lots. He is also proposing to donate approximately 10 acres for conservation land. As proposed, the necessary and the project will incorporate a clear limit of disturbance with erosion controls. Please see the conceptual development plan for more information on the site specifics. And according to zoning bylaws of the Town of Dayton, Massachusetts, 4331 states, a development plan conforming to requirements for a preliminary subdivision plan under the subdivision regulations of the planning board Such plan shall indicate proposed topography, wetlands, and unless the development is to be sewered, the results of deep soil test pits and percolation tests at the rate of 1 per acre, but in no case fewer than 4 per conservation subdivision. Where wetland delineation is in doubt or dispute, the planning board shall require the applicant to submit to the 1712 William Street, Dayton, Mass. Now, the Conservation Commission, a request for determination for applicability pursuant to General Laws, Chapter 131, Section 40, and 310 Code of Mass Regulations 10.05, in parentheses 3. The planning board shall refer data on proposed wastewater disposal to the Board of Health for their review and recommendation. The planning board may also require, as part of the development plan, any additional information necessary to make the determinations and assessments cited herein. At the last planning board meeting on January 15th of 2020, the planning board requested that the applicant perk all the conventional lots. At this time, the applicant has done 4 soil test holes. These soil test holes were completed in the field area / project area. In order to complete the soil test holes in the area beyond the wetland and proposed open space area of the upland island, the applicant would need to cross several portions of the wetland and cut some vegetation, including woody vegetation. We estimate approximately 2,500 square feet of wetlands would need to be altered to access this area for soil test holes. This wetland disturbance and crossing is avoidable by keeping the soil test holes in the area of the proposed development. Currently, we are requesting a waiver to allow the applicant to only do test holes in the field area / project area. We're requesting this because it appears to be in line with the purpose of the Dayton Planning Board's intent of the conservation subdivision design as shown below. According to the zoning bylaws of the town of Dayton, Massachusetts, 4310 states, in parentheses, the purpose of this section 4300 conservation subdivision design is to encourage the preservation of open land for its scenic beauty and to enhance agricultural, open space, forestry, and recreational use, to preserve historical and archaeological resources, to protect the natural environment, to protect the value of real property, to promote more sensitive siting of buildings and better overall site planning, to perpetuate the appearance of Dayton's traditional landscape, to allow the landowner a reasonable return on their investment, to facilitate the construction and maintenance of streets, utilities, and public services in a more economical and efficient manner, and to promote the development of housing affordable to low and moderate income families. Thank you for the opportunity to work with you on this project. Please contact me if you have any questions regarding this work or if you require additional information. Regards, LSC Environmental Consulting, Lisa Caledonia, Principal Scientist. Now, as we know, Mr. Roderick has not presented to us any formal plans yet in regards to this matter. Now, I would think it would be in our best interest to take this. Yes.
Mr. Chair, I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to let you know that I did receive an email late this afternoon from Lisa Caledonia. Forgive me if I'm pronouncing that wrong, but stating that Mr. Roderick got in touch with her requesting that the matter be continued until the next meeting so that his engineer can be present.
Okay. So with that being said, right now, I just want to ask the members if they have, I don't want to have any discussion right now on this topic because we are going to move this on to our next meeting. Mrs. Easterday, would that be the June 3 date?
Yes, it would.
Okay, so I'm going to entertain a motion to, how do I say this, to postpone the waiver for the soil testing at 1217 William Street, map 16, lot 23, until our next meeting, which will be June 3 of 2020.
Mr. Chairman, Tom Pires here. I'll make that motion.
Mr. Byers made a motion, and Mr. Figurito was seconded. Any further discussion on the topic, gentlemen? Hearing none, let's vote. Mr. Byers?
Aye.
Mr. Figurito? Mr. Woods?
Aye.
Mr. Ryan? Aye. That carries, vote 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen. We're gonna move on to, we're a little over time, so we're gonna, open this, get ready to do this. Next, do we have the participants ready for the public hearing for BWC Greenbrook LLC? Are any of those individuals on with us this evening?
We haven't any.
Yes, sir.
I see Mr. Riccio, the engineer.
Correct. You
Do
also
we
have
have any
Drew
others?
Pearson
Drew Pearson's also on with us this evening.
from Blue Wave, and Jackie Firsty from Blue Wave, Carly Rowe from Blue Wave, and Tom
And
Reedy
who is-
from.
Who's Marco Anadozio? Who's that?
Marco's also from Blue Wave. I apologize.
Okay, great. Thank you.
And we also have
Sir.
Ian Ward here as well, representing the property owners from Blue Wave too.
Okay, great. So that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion to open the public hearing for BWC Greenbrook LLC Solar Site Plan Special Permit for 903 Tremont Street, map 8, lot 27, and 0, and 624 Middle Street, maps 8, lots 31 and 80.
So moved. Tom Pires.
Second.
Motion been made by Mr. The motion been made and seconded by Mr. Woods. Any further discussion? I'll open the public hearing. Hearing none, let's vote. Mr. Pires,
Aye.
Mr. Figurito,
Aye.
Mr. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Ryan's, aye. We're gonna have here the presentation by the applicant first, if you would, please. And please address yourself, with your name and the company you are representing, if you would.
Okay, I'm Rich Riccio from Field Engineering on behalf of BWC Greenbrook. I must have the ability to share my screen to show a plan.
Yes, I do believe you should.
Okay. It says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Oh, well, that's not very nice, is it?
Who do I need to give permission to?
You want to do it?
Rich Riccio?
Thank you.
Okay.
Try now.
Yep, I've got it. Thank you. Okay, can everybody see the screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great. As the public notice said, we are actually here tonight for two applications. One is a modification to the existing special permit and site plan approval for 903 Tremont Street. And the second application is for a new special permit on the adjacent parcel known as 624 and 0 Middle Street. The project consists of everything on 903 Tremont Street remains relatively the same as what was previously reviewed and approved. The changes to that site include a slight increase in the size of the property of the array. Originally was 2.8 megawatts, and that's up to 2.9 megawatts DC on that parcel. Also, a modification to the layout of the array. That did not change any of the limits of work except on the southern side of the array. But the layout was modified to allow for single axis tracker design, which the panels will actually follow the sun during the day and, be much more efficient for generation of energy. The third minor modification, third modification to the plan is also the inclusion of a second equipment pad to allow for energy storage located adjacent to the pad we had previously approved. We have the ability, we've been in discussions with the property owner to the south with the potential to expand onto 624 Middle Street, which is what the new special permit that's before you tonight as well, which is an additional 1 megawatt of power that will be situated on that parcel as shown on the plan on basically the southern half of the parcel. That area was partially field now in the central portion of the site, and will also require some trees. A portion of the site will require trees to be taken down. The intent of the entire project is for this to be a dual use array like we had discussed previously, continuing the vegetation of vegetable production potentially on the northern array on Mr. Cabral's property, and the southern array, I believe, would be geared more towards grazing and that type of use to the south, the pasture type use. The site would continue to be accessed from Tremont Street through the 20-foot wide gravel access drive, the same access drive that was shown previously with an extension down onto the southerly property as shown. Due to the fact that we are converting a portion of the Middle Street parcel from wooded area to cropland, there's a slight increase in the amount of runoff that would come from that. And that's being handled by a shallow detention basin on the southern portion of the site. We performed test pits within that basin in the presence of the Board of Health and made a slight revision to the plan, which has all been reviewed and approved by your peer review consultant. I believe
Yeah,
that,
Mr. Ricci,
that basically,
go ahead.
I was just saying that basically summarizes the project as a whole. Just to go over the features on the plan a little bit, the yellow line on the perimeter is the, or greenish yellowish line is the limit of work line. There's the fence line is shown. Once again, we kept the same specification of fence for screening purposes along Tremont Street and along Middle Street on the Cabral parcel. And then along the southerly parcel, once again, with enclosing the array completely in a fence. We are retaining a minimum of 50 feet of vegetation along the backside of Mr. Racine's field, as shown on the plan where my cursor is now. The nearest array, nearest panel to Middle Street on this parcel is approximately 575 feet back from the roadway. There's about 14 acres of fenced area, 14.2 acres to be exact, on Mr. Cabral's parcel, and approximately 6 acres on Ms. Racine's parcel. And with that, yeah, I would take any, questions from the board, unless anybody from Blue Wave has anything else to add.
I'll listen to the comments if Blue Wave has anything they'd like to add.
I'm curious about the increase in megawatts on Mr. Cabral's solar farm. How big is that increase?
It was only about 1/10 of a megawatt, and that was just because we were able to push a little bit further to the south towards the array on Mr. Racine's parcel.
You said 1/10 of a megawatt?
Yeah, we were at 2.8. That's what was approved on the original design, and we're just under 2.9 on that now.
So it's really not a real big
No.
increase. Okay. And on the other parcel, Mrs. Racine, is that a special, is that an altogether different permit?
It would be,
Correct.
it would require a separate special permit, which we've applied for, correct?
All right, and it's two separate projects then, it's not one project, correct? These are two
In the
different,
eyes of the planning board and the town, it's being considered as two separate projects because it's on two separate parcels. It's
Right.
an assemblage of two arrays, but under the interconnection, it's one project.
That's correct.
Correct.
they'll both pay their own taxes separately, the tax bills will go out separate. It won't be lumped into one, correct?
I believe that would be
So Drew Pearson from Blue Wave, I can speak to that briefly. I mean, we would expect that the property taxes would be handled, you know, as they would be today, based on the individual properties. But you know, in the event of, for example, a pilot or a tax agreement that we might put together with the town, if that was, you know, of interest, we would, you know, as one entity is the owner of this singular interconnection and project, would expect that, you know, to be all in one payment.
Yeah, well, there's not a pilot agreement with Mr. Cabral's solar farm.
Correct. We were saying that if that were to be the case, we would advocate for it being, you know, one payment.
We have another pilot agreement, solar array in town that's tied up in court now, so I don't think we want to go there.
I just have a quick question. This is the Rich Riccio. Rich, on
Yes.
Mrs. Racine's property, I know that you're making, well, from Mr. Cabral's property, the increase is going to be from 2.8 megawatts to 2.9. That's the inclusion of Mrs. Racine's property being interconnected into this array. Is that correct?
no, there's an additional 1 megawatt on Mrs. Racine's parcel, so the total
Okay.
production would be 3.9.
Okay. All right. So it'd be separate. Okay. That was my question. We received, does anyone else have any other comments in regards to this? Because I want to go to our engineer, Mr. Williams, and have him weigh on this because he had worked on some things for us with this. So, Mr. Williams, you have the floor, sir.
Yes, we had gone, reviewed the initial plans that were submitted and provided some comments. And then we received the additional information, which included the test pits for the detention basin witnessed by the Board of Health agent. I think that changes to 903 Fremont Street are minimal, and I don't see it didn't have any real concerns with them. I did submit a letter on that extension request just to include a condition. I wasn't sure that they submit a NIPS report prior to proceeding with production of this project. I wasn't sure that permit condition had been included in the original decision. If it is, then you don't need to add it. And then regarding the 624, I think you're saying that this section of the project is, you know, isolated, much more isolated from, you know, butters than the original 903 project. And they have taken measures to properly, you know, address the stormwater requirements. And also, as you can see, the inverters are well away from the adjacent houses, and they're basically the only thing that can, you know, generate noise or that might be a problem within a butter. And they've actually shown the radius of where the noise generated by these inverters will diminish the background levels of the plans, and it's, you know, well away from the existing houses. So other than
And it would be well under the decibel level that would be permitted under law, correct, Mr. Williams?
it would reach, you know, background levels at that.
Yeah, okay, that's right, okay. I'm gonna read the, letter that we received from, GZA. Go ahead, Mr. Williams. If you had anything else to add.
And basically, I included two conditions. Again, they're kind of repetitive. I would assume that you would have the standing conditions you had for the 624 project that you used in the prior one, and then just a comment regarding to make sure that they coordinate this whole project with the fire department. And again, the submission of the final stormwater pollution prevention plan from the EPA to the planning board prior to construction.
All right, all right. Do the members have any questions? I just wanted everyone to, first, we'll just go back and look inside your packets. You're gonna see some information that came down from, this is from Mr. Pearson, and it's from their field engineering company, consulting engineer. And we requested a decommissioning plan, and they have included that paperwork in with their revision on the project. So you're gonna look at that in that paperwork, and it goes in detail exactly of what we had requested of the applicant to do. Now, I would assume that Mr. Pearson's question, is this including the 624 for decommissioning? This is what this paperwork is, I believe.
Yeah, the decommissioning report would be for the entire project, the 3.9 megawatts.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Riccio. Okay. All right.
No problem.
Now, Mr. Williams, if you go back into, I just want to repeat what Mr. Williams said. If you go further into the field engineering report, it does talk about, in reference, section 4661, which is the fire department approved by the fire chief for proper access and egress into this facility. And also, you're going to look at, section 5442, is that the decommissioning cost estimate does not appear to include the cost of disposing of the battery storage. And their response was, we have revised the decommissioning cost estimate to account for additional costs associated with the battery storage disposal. So that is all, that's all included with the package. And the question that I asked Mr. Williams in regards to decibel levels, I'm going to go down to question number 3 on the field engineering report, and it was information on the anticipated sound levels at the adjacent houses on Middle Street should be submitted. There is a new line on the site plan, which I assume is the anticipated audible radius, but it does not seem to be labeled. Also, can you indicate the decibel level? So their response was that the anticipated audible radii around the proposed equipment pads has been provided on the plans. As the plans show, a 150-foot audible radius is shown in the plans, at which sound levels will return back to background levels. The decibel level at the point 150 feet away from a typical inverter pad ranges from 40 to 45 decibels, which is roughly the sound of a quiet bedroom or office. So that answers my question in regards to the noise that would be put out by this array. Do any of the members have any questions at this time?
As long as I have all of the GZA's comments have been addressed, I don't have any issues with it.
Okay, because Mr. Williams did in GZA list that in their report that was written on April 7th of 2020, and it refers to section 4661, which is the potential approval of the condition requiring the operator to submit to the fire department. That's already been corrected. We've already taken care of that. The decommissioning costs on the number 2, that has been taken care of, and the information on the anticipated sound levels, number 3 has been taken care of. Number 4 was the level spreaders. That information was included in the engineering packet, which has been taken care of. And also number 5, the crushed stone to cover on the edge of the drain consists of a stone mix, which can include fines, which could reduce infiltration. And this is infiltration into the basin. So a stone mix with less fines should be considered. The detail has not been changed, but the top 4 inches should be a crushed stone with minimal fines. Now, that has been corrected on the information that was sent out by the engineer. Do any of the members have any questions in regards to the Middle Street Solar?
Are we voting on this tonight?
We could if you like, or we could take it under advisement. All the information has been provided for necessary corrections to be made on their permit application.
Well, it's just real hard to see this on this map that I have in front of me that I can't even see with a magnifying glass. And the map that Rich showed us here on the screen. I really want to take a look at Racine's property and see how it's going to adjoin. And I don't really want to rush into this. I have
No, I understand
I
it, Mr.
can't
Woods.
see this map that, that Kerry printed out for us. I can't even
No, I
read that
understand,
with a magnifying glass.
Let's have the members go back and the packets are on file. So go back to the original maps that were provided by the applicants, and it'll give everyone an opportunity to look at those. So what?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I can zoom in on Racine's parcel on the screen. Does Mr. Woods have the ability to see the screen?
Yeah.
Yes, he does.
I'm using my phone, Rich. I'm using my phone.
Oh, I see. I'll have
Okay,
to really zoom in.
everything's small. I can't read anything.
It's not coming up on your computer, Woody?
Well, no, I'm not even bothering with my computer.
Okay, because it's got a full screenshot of the computer. You just blew it up.
So that's Mrs. Racine's property. Can you back it down a little, Rich?
Yes, sir. That right there shows the whole thing. Her house up front. We're retaining a good portion of the woods between her front fields and our field in the back.
Okay, well, coming down Middle Street here, if I look to the left through that field, we're gonna see that solar array.
Where?
Well, I can't point to you here because you can't see my finger.
No, I know,
Off of
but
Middle,
we
off
have
of Middle Street.
a minimum of 50 feet where they're maintaining the existing vegetation.
Yeah.
And then it opens up to at least 200 feet of existing wooded area behind her house.
I'd like to do a site visit just like we did for Mr. Cabral's property and every other solar.
Understood, Mr. Woods. I'm inclined to think the same thing right now.
I agree with that. I think we should all be comfortable with the siting of this project.
I'm sorry, Mr. Pius, could you repeat that, please? I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I would agree with Mr. Woods. I think we should all be confident and know where this project is being sited. So I think a site visit would be in order also.
We'd have no issue with that if we wanted to set up a time. I could make myself available. We could meet at Joanne's driveway and take a walk into the woods and along the street.
Okay, Rich, that'd be great. I'd like to request that you get in touch with Mrs. Easterday, our office manager, at least 4 days prior to, so that way we can post it, because I'd like to go also myself. So if we have more than a quorum there, we have to post the meeting.
I mean, you guys let us know when, and we can be there. I mean, the pretty flexible. I'm very flexible. I can be there at any time, and I can bring hard copies of the plans, and we can, full size. That way, I can hand them out to you guys, and we can see what we're looking at.
Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Woods, you amenable? to
Yes,
that? Are you amenable to that?
I'm good.
Can I?
Okay, Mr. Pires?
Something? Is
Yeah,
Yes, Mr. Williams.
I believe any day would be fine.
Okay, Mr. Williams?
Yeah, can I suggest something? Is it possible that the alignment of the proposed fence could be marked out in the field? So the planning board would have an idea when they're standing in the field, how far in and how much vegetation coverage there would be.
We could put some rough stakes out there where the fence is in the woods.
Maybe like some survey flags on the tree so they can see it when
Yeah.
they're looking in.
Yeah, that could be done. That's not a problem. It would be nice if we could, is it possible to set a date for the site walk right now, so I can make sure we have that taken care of?
Joe, I know what your pleasure is for your upcoming schedules are. If you guys could take a look, maybe all of us, we could get on the same page, and we could be able to get a date and set a date. What's everyone's availability next week? The only day I cannot do is, I can do after 11 a.m. on Tuesday, which would be the 26th.
Yeah, any afternoon's good for me.
Woody, can you do like 11:15? Is that good? 11:30?
Fine for me.
Woody, you said 11:15, 11:30. Woody's good for you?
Yeah,
Okay. Mr. Pires is
What date are we talking about?
the 26th of May at 11:30.
I believe I have a doctor's appointment that day.
Okay. Can we try for Wednesday, the 27th, the following day?
That would probably work.
Mr. Woods?
fine.
Mr. Figurito?
Fine with me.
Okay. So, Mr. Williams, would you be available on the 27th of May?
I believe so. What time?
Okay. 11:30 a.m. Mr. Riccio, is that good with you?
That would work. That works fine for me.
Okay. Mrs. Easterday, we're going to do a site visit walkthrough on the 27th of May at 11:30 a.m. So if you could please post a meeting for us, because we're going to all be present.
Post that.
That would be absolutely great. That would be Wednesday, the 27th of May.
Wonderful. I will post that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Welcome.
Mr. Do we have any public input at this time? Any questions from the public? Any chats? Anyone on the screen with us, with the public?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we do.
And if you could read that question, Mr. Gray?
Absolutely. So we've got public input from Emily Murphy of Lincoln Avenue. She writes, hello, I am a resident of Dighton and live on Lincoln Ave. I think the idea of a solar farm is ridiculous. This is a residential area that will be an absolute eyesore to the community. This is a beautiful field and we're gonna have to see ugly solar. Not to mention the obnoxious construction of it. I strongly disagree against this. This is a town, not a city. End of public input.
Thank you. That was from an individual who lives on Lincoln Avenue, is not a direct abutter. I'll just state that for the record, that individual is not a direct abutter of the solar array. But we appreciate Mrs. Murphy's question in regards to her views on the solar array going at that location. Mr. Gray, do we have any other public input?
Nope, I think that's it for now.
Gentlemen, since we have no public input, I am going to entertain a motion to close the public hearing for BWC Greenbrook Solar LLC site plan special permit for 903 Tremont Street, map 8, lot 27 and 0, and 624 Middle Street, map 8, lots 31 and 80.
Mr. Chairman?
No, this is
I believe this should be continued until after the site review.
Thank you, I'm sorry, that was the correct word I was looking for. Continue to the site review, which will be done on 27 May at 11:30 a.m. I'll entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for BWC Greenbrook Solar.
Do you have a date and time specific?
Yes, Mr. Williams, that'll be 27 May at 11:30 a.m.
No, the hearing,
Oh, the public hearing. Mrs. Easterday, are we going with June 3rd on this?
So the June 3rd, we already have 3 public hearings.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, I see my notes now. I'm sorry. It would be June 17th will be the next hearing date. Just had to go back and see my notes. So with that being said, I will entertain a motion to continue the public hearing for BWC Greenbrook Solar until June 17th of 2020. Motion's been made by Mr. Woods and a second by Vice Chairman Pires. Any further discussion on the topic? Hearing none, let's vote. All in favor, say aye.
Sorry, can we?
Mr. Pires?
Aye.
I'm sorry, Mrs. Easterday?
I'm sorry, I was just gonna ask you to do it by roll call, please.
Mr. Pires?
Yes, aye.
Mr. Figueredo?
Aye.
Mr. Woods?
Aye.
Mr. Ryan? Aye, that passes 4-0. The date continued for the public hearing will be June 17th for Greenbrook Solar. Mr. Riccio, thank you for coming in our meeting, and also the representative, Mr. Pearson, from the outfit, and we appreciate you coming on board. Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you,
Have a
everybody.
Good night.
Thank you. So if you need anything, Rich, contact Mrs. Easterday at the office, or Mr. Pearson.
Will do. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And have a great evening and stay safe.
You too. Thank you.
So that being said, we are going to move on to item D, which is to review, discuss, and act on the Route 44 business corridor. Mr. Pires, if you would please elaborate.
Chairman?
If you just give me one moment, I'll get to it. Let me turn my video on here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, can you give me 1 second, please? Mr. Williams, go ahead.
Does the board need my presence for the remainder of the hearing?
Mr. Williams, I believe we are all squared away with you this evening, and we appreciate you coming out with us, and we look forward to seeing you on the 27th at 11:30.
That's great. Thank you. Stay safe.
Thank you, Mr. Williams. Have a great evening.
I'll also be seeing myself off. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
Mr. Gray, thanks a lot for your participation. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Have a great night. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, I'm sorry about that interruption. Go right ahead.
Are we ready to go?
Thank you. Yes,
I'll read
Mr. Powell.
the notice of public hearing regarding the Route 44 Business District zoning bylaw.
But just
To see if the town will vote to amend the Town of Dayton zoning bylaws section.
Tom, hold on a second. Kerry wants to say something. Mrs. Easterday?
Tom, just to bring you up to date, this is not the official public hearing for. That's going to take place on June 3rd. This is just to give a recap of letting the people know that the public hearing is coming up for June 3rd for the public hearing for the the bylaw changes, as well as the, forgive me, the acceptance of the road, the Miller's Lane Road. That makes sense. So we're not doing the actual public hearing tonight for that. That's gonna take place on June 3rd. So tonight, I didn't know if there was anything that you guys wanted to discuss before the public hearing. That's why it was on the agenda, because we had it
Oh,
on
okay.
previous agendas, if there was any discussion. But the official.
So we're not having the public hearing for the business district, is that what you're saying?
Not until June 3rd. June 3rd is when that's gonna take place.
Okay.
Okay,
And how about the kennel?
same thing.
Okay,
Okay.
June 3 also.
So we'll, is that on our agenda this
It's
evening?
just for discussion, no public hearing. It's not a,
Oh, okay.
the public hearing is gonna be at our next meeting.
Okay, it was for discussion for the board.
Yes,
Okay.
if there was any,
All right, I'll start with the kennel. I believe that, we had a lot of discussion on this and we agreed to move it forward. And also the same for the Route 44 Business District. But I'd be happy to try to answer any questions if the board has any or some discussion on this.
No, Tom, I looked at, what we had done in the past and, some of the numbers had changed. Specifically, I want all the members to look at, the highlighted portions of this and go down to kennel license. That changed a little bit. A kennel license is not required for 3 dogs or less. The number was higher last time and that's been changed. And also, if you look on the kennel residential, this section does not apply to properties with 3 dogs or less. Mr. Fires and the Board of Health changed those numbers precipitously because the numbers were a little high that were there before. So, Tom, I'm going to let you speak on this.
Yeah, the reason I put that in is because people aren't aware. This is a state mandate. Just to let people know that any kennel license, regardless of the type, a kennel license is not required for 3 dogs or less. A license is only required for more than 3 dogs. And this was more of an informational thing that we added to let the people know that, because a lot of them will say, well, do I need a kennel license for 2 dogs or 3 dogs? And you don't. So it was more of an informational addition. So to alert people that it is not applicable to 3 dogs or less, any type of kennel license.
Okay. Any of the members have any questions in regards to the proposed kennel bylaw that's put together? Mr. Woods?
No.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Mr. Figueredo. Go ahead, Mr. Figueredo.
My only concern is there any kind of fencing? Certain dogs will require fencing more so than others. Is there any stipulations that we could put on to that?
That would be up to the special permit granting authority. I think we discussed this before.
Which is
that
DB, right?
We're only changing definitions. We're not putting any restrictions or anything else on this.
That would be dog discrimination.
Well, it would be, yes, in a sense.
Right? Some little dogs are worse than big dogs.
Yep, there you go. So you can't be a big dog if you can live unless.
You can't hang with big dogs and stay off the porch.
I think it was decided at a previous meeting that we would leave that at the hands of the permit granting authority, which would be the zoning board of appeals at the time.
Now that you mentioned it, I think so, yes. No, I have no further questions.
Mr. Woods, any questions?
None.
Tom, I just want to thank you for all your hard work that you've done along with, the Board of Health in putting this proposed kennel bylaw into effect.
That was actually tougher than the 44 business district, I think.
I knew that was coming.
if we want to, let me just, I'm not sure we really got into the Route 44 business district much. I think we did. It was seemed like such a long time ago. But basically, I'll give you a brief overview of what it does. The bylaw change was drafted jointly by the town administrator, building commissioner, and myself, and I think you were involved a little bit with this drafting of this. It is for the area north of Route 44 only, and it runs from town line to town line. In other words, from Taunton line to the Rehoboth line. The area is presently mixed use, business and residential. What we're attempting to do is create a new district, which includes limited manufacturing, marijuana cultivation and processing, with no on-site sales or consumptions. It was created to promote additional business in town without being a detriment to the underlying residential use. We're just trying to create some business, some tax revenue, and since we have limited availability of land in town, which is suitable, it seemed like a good area at the time to do it. We kept to the northern portion because the property seemed more suitable to do what we want to do out there. There's some large pieces of property. So that said, I'll be happy to answer anything.
What if the south side? Well, I mean, I think that's kind of discriminating, the south side. Why not the south?
Well, the south side didn't have enough suitable property, I don't think, to try to do something like this. And it seemed to be more densely populated than the north side. So we were trying to lessen the impact on what's there already. And,
Correct. Correct, Tom. I'm sorry. That was this discussion we had with the meeting was that area on the south side, Mr. Figueredo, is densely populated and there are not a lot of open space parcels there that could be utilized.
Okay.
Tom, go ahead and finish your thought. I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. That was basically, that was what we're trying to do. It's the industrial, well, it includes, when I say multi-use, it includes business, residential, and industrial, all in the same district. But if you read the change, we're keeping away from a minimum of 250 feet from any structures. So, there are some areas that present, not in this town, but in other towns, have similar usage. So, considering the scarcity of our property where there's some availability of business, we kind of felt this was the best area to do it in. And as far as the marijuana facilities, it's either going to be cultivation or processing. There'll be no on-site sales, no consumption. It's all cultivated and processed and delivered to other facilities.
Okay. Now, Mrs. Easterday, correct me if I'm wrong, but we would act on this business at the June 3rd meeting?
On the public hearing?
Yes.
So the board's already acted and approved to place it on the warrant to be acted on at town meeting. What we're doing on June,
Okay.
having the public hearings, so we can have the public input in on that. And take into consideration of any questions or comments or concerns that they might have, and maybe any potential revisions upon any of those questions, comments, concerns from the public, and then go from there. That answer your question?
Okay, so we are going to have and hold a public hearing on June 3rd for this, correct?
Correct. So I guess in a roundabout way, these articles are on the town meeting warrant already. But what we have to do is a formality. We have to have a public hearing and notify the public, the townspeople, and they have a right to speak on that, which is when that's gonna take place on June 3rd.
Okay, okay.
I have a
So-
question for Mrs. Easterday myself. Where are we at? I saw the town administrator's response to what we discussed about the 2 marijuana definition changes.
Correct.
Where are we at with that?
So we did not, the board did not officially move to place that on the warrant. So I've assured the town administrator that everything is getting ready and we will have that ready to go for the next special town meeting. I would say in the fall
Yes.
or whatnot.
Okay.
So we'll be ready to do that. But the board did not because as we discussed earlier, when I was trying to figure out what happened.
Well, the timing of all of this is what threw us a loop because that was, I believe, March 5th was the drafting date and final submission to you. And I think we were pretty much up to our eyeballs in Corona at the time. So.
If I recall the timeline, we had gotten the draft definition around after our first meeting of March. I started to place it on our second meeting of the month in March, but of course we canceled that due to COVID, and then from there it just obviously went haywire. So we did not get the official, the board did not get the official chance to place it on the warrant or have any discussions on the matter. So that's why it was not able to move forward. And that's why a public hearing was not scheduled. So what I have done is made sure that when we go to our next special town meeting, whether that's in the fall or even sooner, if we have one and have the opportunity, I'll make sure that that does get done. And I've already spoken to the town administrator on that.
Okay, so that's where we're at with that. Gentlemen, any other questions on the Route 44 business corridor?
None.
So with that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion to put this item on the agenda for a June 3rd meeting for a public hearing for zoning bylaw, kennel commercial definitions, and also, correct me if I'm wrong, Mrs. Easterday, and also the Route 44 business corridor.
That is correct.
Okay.
I'll make that motion.
Motion been made by Vice Chairman Pires. Any second?
Second.
Mr. Woods with a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, let's vote. Mr. Vice Chairman Pires?
Aye. Yes.
Mr. Figueredo?
Aye.
Mr. Woods?
Aye.
Mr. Rhines? Aye. The vote carries 4-0. Thank you, gentlemen. Next, we're going to move on to item F, and that's to review, discuss, and act on the Millers Lane Road acceptance. Now, I want to speak on this a little bit. I've been in contact with, I'm sorry, go ahead. I was somebody talking. All right, so I have had the opportunity to speak with Mrs. Goulat, who has worked on doing the land takings up at Millers Lane for the Board of Selectmen, and also our highway superintendent, Mr. Ferry. Now, all the engineering has been done up there. I have done a drive-through up there, and there was a culvert put in. The road has been taken care of. All the engineering has been done, and all the legwork through the attorneys also have been done in regards to the acceptance of Millers Lane. So it's pretty much clear cut and dry that we should just be able to move forward with this at town meeting to accept the road. Any members have any comments?
No, it seems to be ready to go. Seems everything's in order, I believe.
Yeah, I went up, Tom. I think they went up and seeded, all the areas that the land they talked to, you know, for the residents up there. And I believe all the, financials have been taken care of in regards to that. So I think
And the
we're
best
pretty
part,
much,
the drainage works.
there you go, there you go. What do you get any questions about Miller's Lane?
I'm good to go. I took a ride up there, looks fine to me.
Mr. Figueredo, any questions on Miller's Lane?
Nope, I have none at this point. I
Okay, so, Mrs. Easterday, how do you think we should proceed with this vote?
I don't think there's really any vote needed, except just that, you know, make the announcement that we're having the official public hearing at our June 3rd meeting.
Okay, so, gentlemen, I'm going to entertain a motion to put Miller's Lane Road acceptance on our June 3rd meeting for a public hearing. Motion been made by Mr. Figueredo. Do I hear a second?
The paperwork I got here says June 6th.
There
I was just gonna bring that up, Woody.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, that's,
that. Forgive me, there was a correction made to that afterwards.
Okay, so it's the 3rd, right?
Yes, it is the
Because
3rd.
I don't want to meet on the 3rd and then on the 6th.
No, Wednesday,
okay.
3rd,
The
because
Good
6th
point,
is a
Mr. Hill.
Saturday.
June 6th
Yeah,
is
exactly.
I'm tied up that day, so.
Yeah, I'll be
I'm
working.
I'm glad the 6th isn't, it's been corrected because my stomach was in my throat. So,
Yeah.
Has been
I'm glad it's correct.
Okay, so with that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion to put the Miller's Lane Road acceptance on our June 3rd meeting for a public hearing.
So moved.
Motion been made by Mr. Pires, so I hear a second.
second.
Motion been made and seconded by Mr. Figueredo. Any further discussion on Miller's Lane? Hearing none, let's vote. Ms. Vice Chairman Pires.
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo.
Aye.
Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Ryan's aye. That carries Mrs. Easterday 4-0. We're going to move on to item agenda number 5, which is the approval of the meeting minutes of April 15th of 2020.
Forgive me, we got one more item, is the summer schedule. We missed one.
Oh, I'm sorry, I did miss that. I should have put my glasses on. I apologize. Yes, gonna
I have a
review, discuss,
suggestion.
and act. Yeah,
After June, we take the rest of the summer off.
there you go. So I'm gonna move to item agenda G, which is review, discuss, and act on the summer schedule. Mrs. Easterday, the office manager, has provided the summer schedule to everyone. And I want you guys just to take note that from June through through August or September, look at we are going to have 1 month worth of meetings, and it's always the second date listed. So the June meeting will be June 17th. I'm sorry, we are meeting June 3rd. Don't be confused. Let me not confuse you. We are meeting June 3rd, but the summer schedule begins on June 17th. Then our next meeting will be July 15th. Our next meeting after that will be August 19th and September 16th. The other dates listed, I believe, are just in case dates if the agenda gets too overwhelming, so we can go back and fall back on that if necessary. So with that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion to accept the summer schedule.
Could you repeat?
So
Don't we
moved.
have something scheduled for June 17th?
Yeah, regular meeting.
Yeah, we do already. Yes, we do. We have that's the meeting day. So don't be confused. In June, we are meeting 2 days that month. It would be the 3rd and also the 17th.
Okay.
Correct, Mrs. Easterday?
Yes, so basically, technically, I guess in essence, the summer schedule wouldn't start until July.
Okay.
I think in light of the recent events and not being able to hold various meetings because of everything that's been going on with coronavirus, I think it would be best if we kept our 17th meeting. But you know, we can eliminate the July 1st, the August 5th, and then the September 2nd.
Okay. Okay.
That makes sense.
Tell me,
Yeah.
does anyone have any questions on the summer schedule?
None.
Hearing none, we can let votes. Ms. Vice Chairman Pires,
I would vote in favor, aye.
Mr. Figueredo,
Aye.
Mr. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Ryan's aye. Thank you, gentlemen. The summer schedule has been approved. Next, we're going to move to item agenda number 5, which is the approval of the meeting minutes of April 15th of 2020. I'll entertain a motion to accept the meeting minutes.
Second. Sorry, I fell asleep for a minute.
We need a first on.
Motion. Mr. Woods, make the motion, sir. Mr. Woods,
What's that?
did you make the motion on that?
I did.
He did.
Oh, you did.
Okay, the motion has been made, I'm sorry, and seconded by Vice Chairman Pires. Any further discussion on the meeting minutes of April 15th of 2020? Hearing none, let's vote. Vice Chairman Pires,
Aye.
Mr. Figueredo,
Aye.
Mr. Woods,
Aye.
they did toothpick out of your mouth, by the way. And Mr. Ryan's aye. Thank you, gentlemen. Mrs. Easterly, do we have any correspondence for this month?
We do not.
We have no correspondence. Right now, we have no public input. I'd like to just say a few things, if I may, just quickly. In regards to everything that's going on with the pandemic, I'd like to take this opportunity on the board's behalf to thank Mrs. Easterday for sending us out all the pertinent information this board needs to be active with, okay? And also, she's available for any phone call from the residents. I've been on the phone with her constantly. She's sending us updates. And Mrs. Easterday, thank you very much. You're right on, doing what, we've asked you to do. So I appreciate that. I know the members of the board also do, especially in this trying time. So if we have no other public input, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn. But before we adjourn, I just want to remind the members again, we are meeting on June 3rd at 6 p.m. And also we are having a site visit walkthrough on 27 May at 11:30 a.m. at Middle Street. So that's just a reminder to the gentlemen. So if we have nothing else, I will entertain a motion. I'm sorry?
No, thank you very much for the, your support. Thank you.
You're welcome, Carrie. It's well earned.
My
You
pleasure.
deserve it.
Pleasure.
You deserve it. So,
The
gentlemen,
check's
do
in
we
the
have
mail.
anything anyone would like to add before we leave the meeting this evening? Mr. Pires, any comments?
No, I did send her a great job letter today too regarding with the meeting packet because I think she did a fantastic job with it. So you've really, I couldn't have said it any better than you did. So,
Thank you.
but yeah, she did a great job, and thank you very much, Carrie.
Carrie, in these trying circumstances, you really have gone above and beyond to make sure this board is a functioning and active board with this pandemic going on. So we appreciate that. Mr. Woods, any comment?
No, thank you very much, Carrie.
And a pleasure.
Mr. Figueredo, any comments?
Yes, thank you very much to Carrie. Thank you to you and to Tom as well. You guys all deserve a big thank you. And you as well, Woody. You put up with us.
Oh, thank you, Joe.
All right.
Well, with that being said, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make the motion to adjourn.
Motion been made by Vice Chairman Pius to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. Woods. And since there's no discussion on adjournments, let's vote. All of Mr. Pires.
Oh, hey, good night. Stay safe. That's all I got to say.
Okay.
I
Hey, how
believe-
do I
Mr.
get
Woods?
out of this program here?
But you have
Just
to
click-
say yes first. on the vote.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, aye.
And
Aye.
then
all
there
right,
should,
so Mr. Figueredo,
Aye.
okay. So that's all, that's 4 in favor. We are adjourning at 7:21 PM. Thank you, gentlemen, Mrs. Easterday, thank you as always.
thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Cable,
Good
thank you
night.
very much for everything.